What's going on, guys? Welcome to JuicedCast, a podcast made for resellers by resellers. Today, we're joined by a really, really special guest. We've been killing it with the guests lately in the past 5 episodes or so, and we're really looking forward to pushing out more episodes with guests and making it, you know, um, better for y'all. As you know, after every episode, you guys DM us. We really want to have more guests on and give us a list of which guests you'd like to see, and this one was highly requested as well. So before we get into introducing him, I just want to introduce my co-host, Saucyy Mango. How's it going, bro?
I'm doing really well. Super pumped. Let's get this episode started, man. It's great to have this guest over today to give a little insight into who we're bringing on. Well, DTX and I have been grinding out the episode recordings, trying to get some good content out for those of you who've been following our podcast up until now, and it has been jam packed. We've had a lot on our plate, a lot on our schedule, whether it may be recordings, editings, all that stuff. And we've been having to, chow down a lot of coffee today. So that's giving you a little, into who we're going to be bringing on today. We got TKG, for those of you that know him, and AKA Kevin. So how's it going, TKG?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thank you so much for having me on.
No problem, man. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us. We've been a little back and forth lately, you and I. It's great to have you on, learn a little about you and what you do in this industry. So you know what? Let's just get started with a little conversation. Tell us a little about, your journey in this community, in this industry, how you got to where you are today, whether it be Quokka or anything else you do. Where did it all start for you, man?
Yeah. So I actually I got into the space probably about 2017. My first like shoe drop or introduction to like reselling was the Beluga 1.0 Yeezy 350s. And
Dang,
so
okay.
I manualed that drop, left empty-handed, so I was kind of upset about that. But I started botting like pretty soon after with TaskBot, because TaskBot was like the only bot at the time that supported
Yeah.
Mac, and I just had my MacBook from school. So I picked that up, but I think during that time, cook groups weren't like super big. They weren't like a regular thing other than like Easy Mafia, and that was like impossible to get into.
Yeah.
So I basically just like found sneaker Twitter and I used that as like my cook group for the longest time. But yeah, so I've been around for a little bit. I've hopped around, stopped reselling for a little bit, and then came back to reselling. But yeah, that's basically like how I started.
Wow, that's amazing. So, I mean, today, obviously, I guess the one thing that we'll sort of look into about you, sort of your first initial position that you say on your Twitter is your CEO position at Quokka Brew, right? So, before we really get into the technical side of the botting stuff and all the other stuff you do, what's that experience like at Quokka, and like, what do you enjoy most about that position?
Yeah, definitely. So let's see. I came on as COO at Quokka probably like 2 months into the company. So actually my two of my best friends started the company while we were over at UC Berkeley. So I just graduated from there last year.
Wow.
But George and Ofek are co-founders, and George was actually my little in my fraternity. And I knew that he was working on Quokka. It was something that I thought was super cool. And so like I just kept bugging them to join. And they were kind of I don't want to say like anal about who they brought on, but they were definitely like selective
Yeah.
of who they brought on. So I kind of just did what I could to like show value and that I could, add value to the company. But yeah, it's super cool. I mean, my favorite part about being COO is kind of just like being a problem solver. I think I really enjoy being put into tough situations and like figuring my way out of them. So I think especially like as a small young company, there's a lot of like problem solving and putting out fires that goes into the role. So I really enjoy that as a whole.
Okay. Wow. So you said actually one thing that you said was you graduated last year, right? If you don't mind me
I
asking,
did, yeah.
what did you study?
Yeah, it's funny. I studied cognitive science, so not really anything related to business or coffee, like whatsoever. But I really enjoyed like brains and whatnot while I was in school. So I thought that was going to be a really cool route for me. And obviously things just went in a different direction.
Yeah, that's amazing. So like when we think of Quokka Brew, right? Like it's a coffee company, and to like the average sort of person in our industry just like browsing around, we're like, what the heck does a coffee company have to do with like, partnerships or sponsorships or like anything that revolves around sneaker Twitter. Like, how did that come to fruition?
Yeah, so this is actually like super funny because it wasn't anything that was planned at all. Like I was reselling on the side just because it was something that I like to do because it was fun. But I was also working on Quokka. And one day, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Brown from Torpedo,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I ended up like getting an invite to Brown FNF that he just like tweeted out, and
Mhm.
like immediately I like popped in this Discord channel. He had like a networking channel, and so I kind of just gave like a little blurb about Quokka and how we're Jitterless coffee. We just graduated from Berkeley, and we're doing all this super cool stuff. And Hem and Dylan from Torpedo both thought it was like super cool. So we started DMing about it, and it was just one of those things where I was like, "Hey man, like I'll send you guys free coffee if you guys are down to like partner with us." And I had no idea like what that was gonna entail at the time, but
Yeah.
I knew I wanted Torpedo. I knew it was like a killer bot, and so I was just like, I'm gonna shoot my shot, and everything was kind of just off to the races from there. It was
That's
cool
so
because
cool.
like yeah, it was cool because I mean we're in a space where like I think developers as a whole like rely on caffeine,
I was
and
gonna
at the
say
time,
the botting industry, whether it be developers or just people who run the softwares, we're always up at night on the grind, like setting up for releases, or even just developers fixing like their line of code, right? Always on the clock.
exactly, yeah, and at the time I wasn't even thinking about it, but it kind of worked out to be a perfect storm.
So whenever Quokka Brew started, were you offered the CIO position like right off the bat, or is it something that you were offered later on in the process?
Yeah, so right off the bat, didn't have any position. It was something that I was just helping out with and trying to get involved with. Then I actually started out as our chief product officer, which was kind of more just a title for the sake of having the title. But then as my my involvement in the company started to ramp up and I started to take on more responsibility, that's when I was kind of handed the like second in command type role of COO.
Oh, okay, that's dope. So, basically, a timeline on Quokka. You guys all went to Berkeley, right? And then you guys started the company, and then you kind of brought it into this space to publicize it with like Brown's FNF server and all that, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. So, um, how was Quokka Brew able to secure these partnerships and sponsors? You have with like all these big names. I believe you guys started off with Torpedo, right? So I'm assuming that was because of Brown, and then you guys just expanded after that.
Yeah, yeah. So it started with Torpedo. Dylan was actually the one that was like going super gung ho on like getting us a partnership. So I didn't really talk to like Tencent or any of the other guys at the time.
Mhm.
But Dylan loved the product. He thought it was super cool, so he was willing to help out. And I think Torpedo is really what put us on the map. And from there, I kind of just started hitting people up. I would send like cold DMs on Twitter and Discord, just saying like, "Hey, this is what we're doing. We're Jitterless Coffee. We're partnered with Torpedo. Like, do you guys want to do a giveaway with us, or do you guys want to be partners with us?" And I'm sure 75% of the people that I messaged said no, like screw off. But it was the 25% that said yes and kind of took a chance on us that helped us grow in the space.
Okay, that's crazy. Now, I mean, you should go DM them again and be like, you made a big mistake, bud.
No, I mean it's no hard feelings at all to anyone. I've actually had a good amount of people that initially told me no, reach back out and ask for partnerships after we'd blown up a little bit. So I mean, zero hard feelings. Everything worked out, and honestly, I don't blame anyone for saying no right off the bat because it
Yeah,
it
it's
didn't
all part of the
quite make
business.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Um,
you do a lot of this work in our industry now with Quokka Brew, right? That's sort of translated to a lot of different relationships. How would you say that has helped your own personal growth in terms of like what TKG does in our industry?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's been like absolutely everything. Like I said, I was around in the sneaker Twitter space since like 2017,
Yeah.
and I don't think anyone knew who I was up until probably like December of 2020. So it's been awesome. Like I've made friends with some of the most notable people in the community,
Mhm.
um, and honestly, those friendships have just helped me leverage so much. Like I've been on calls with people that I used to like idolize in the space, and I still idolize them. I mean, the goats are still goats, you know.
Absolutely.
But it's just cool to, you know, consider myself friends with them, even if it is just like an online friendship or whatnot.
Yeah, that's really cool because I think a lot of recent friendships have been made over the last year with a lot of people being at home and stuff, and that shift to sort of moving online, a lot of Discord, sneaker Twitter, stuff like that. A lot of people have been able to sort of network a lot better.
100%. Yeah, I think people have been like so much more open to it, just being cooped up in their homes, and I think
Exactly.
COVID, as crappy as it was, really did like make a lot of people in this space a lot of money and make them notable people in the space as well.
Had a few good things, a lot of bad things, but a few good things, right?
There's silver linings everywhere for sure.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, I agree with what you said. You know, like a lot of the friendships that were built in sneaker Twitter over the pandemic. I'm interested to see how those play out. You know, even post pandemic, as we're kind of seeing that at least in the States right now. But have you been able to curate any of these like relationships that you make online, right? Have you ever been able to like take them over to real life relationships, like meeting any of these people that you have online in real life yet? I find that like I've asked a few people that, and you know, I found their answers really interesting, whether you met them at like some sneaker event or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done a whole lot of meetups. I think my first meetup was with Monitor That, Michael from Vanish and WPM. I met him down in Santa Monica. I went down to LA for a trip to go pitch Quokka in stores. So I met up with him and we talked business and whatnot, and that was super cool. And then I also met up with AKA from Rush. I know he's kind of in the background now doing, you know, whatever to have a Rush comeback. But I met up with him when Rush was still like very much on the scene. But other than that, things have been pretty low key. There's not a crazy amount of people in the Bay Area that are involved in the sneaker scene. But I know I want to meet up with Christine from I think he's with Ominous now. We've talked about meeting up because he's in the area, and then Kitty as well from Night. He's pretty close to me too.
Oh, okay, that's dope. You gonna be going to SneakerCon Bay Area next month? I think it's in August, right?
I was actually planning on getting a table and you know, doing a whole Quokka setup with my team.
That'd
there.
Be dope.
That would be sick.
Yeah, so I was actually talking to one of the guys that puts on SneakerCon, and he was basically saying Quokka is not relevant to the sneaker community, so we're not able to get a vendor table.
Dang.
Yeah, so I might put out a petition and see if I can get some people to rally on that to let us do a vendor table. But I'd love to come out and meet everyone for sure.
Well, you definitely got Saucy's name on that for that one for sure.
I appreciate it.
Let me know if you need anything with like con, because this past sneaker con in Dallas, I was able to work with the people that were at con. We got like me and the people that we worked with, we got like a line of tables. I think like total, I think it was 5 or 6, and then you know we were able.
Yeah, you guys set up camp there, man.
Yeah, so like we had a full table and like a full line of tables. We did it all last SneakerCon in Dallas, hoping to do it in the Bay Area again. But if you need anything like with the SneakerCon admin, I can definitely like maybe talk. I know what I'm gonna say isn't gonna change anything, of course, but like you know, kind of talk to the other guys that I know over there, because at the end of the day, like, and I mean this, like if they're listening to this, which I doubt they are, SneakerCon staff and admin are the worst. Like they don't respond on time. All right, they don't respond on time. They are completely disorganized. Like I remember
they're disorganized. Yeah.
Last SneakerCon in Dallas, doors closed at 10:30 a.m. for vendors. If you didn't get your table set up by 10:30, tough luck. Like better luck next year, right? They were closing at like 10:10, and my partners were like, or some of the people that I was sharing it with were like hammered until 5 a.m. the last night. Like they weren't coming till like 10:29 a.m. and like it was a complete mess, and they weren't working with us, and it was awful. So yeah, they definitely need to get it in order. But yeah, I think Quokka Brew is definitely relevant to the sneaker community more than a lot of the other things I saw there in Dallas. Like I won't name names, obviously, but like things that I saw that had tables that weren't relevant at all. Quokka Brew is definitely more relevant because first of all, who else is doing Twitter giveaways with bots as a sneaker as a coffee company?
As a coffee company, yeah.
Definitely. I appreciate the kind words for sure. I was actually planning on going in on tables with the Jap Boys F&F crew. They were gonna do the
So we sold out in Dallas like within, because we got lucky. We had a store cash out our table, and then like the next 3 hours, I'm in Jot too. I'm one of their providers there, so I was just chilling at the table like for the last like 5 hours a day, 4 hours a day.
Yeah, so they were bugging me with that, but it is what it is. Maybe we can make something work. Regardless, I'll try to make it out, even if it's not as a vendor spot. But maybe one day.
We need to make sure you a vendor this year.
That would be amazing, man. You recently shared like on Twitter, I saw you got more product like showing up on shelves now in Los Angeles and in San Diego. Where else, for those of our listeners who are listening right now who might want to go grab some Quokka right now, like where can they grab some?
Yeah. So for anyone that's not based in California, we're actually live on Amazon Prime now. We just got approved for Prime. Yeah. So free 2-day shipping. You'll get that. But yeah, so we just got approved for Prime, so you can order that anywhere in the US. QuokkaBrew.com, obviously we've got the best deals there. But then we're focusing super heavy on California retail. So we've got stores in San Diego. We're in all of the Air One locations down in Los Angeles. And then we're launching in Berkeley Bowl this month as well, up in NorCal. We're planning on launching in like 100 stores by the end of next month. So we'll get like an updated store list on our website if you guys like want to find a spot to go pick up some Quokka, but definitely check it out. We're super excited for it.
That's dope. So who are like some of the primary partners or like store lists that you have secured so far?
Yeah, so our biggest ones, like I said, Air One, it's something that's huge in California. It's like kind of the leader in the natural food space. So okay. I know it's not like a Walmart type name, but there are products that have been picked directly up from Air One and brought straight into Walmart. So it's definitely the spot that we want to be in the beverage industry right now.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm from Canada myself. For those Canadian folks out there, are we going to be able to get some Quokka?
So at the moment, you can buy Quokka Brew from our website. International shipping will definitely it taxes. We're trying to work out a thing on Amazon right now to where Amazon US will ship to Amazon Canada.
Oh wow!
And hopefully that shouldn't be like any additional cost. We just got to figure out how to do that. But that should be coming soon. So Amazon's going to be your friend if you live up north.
Right. I'm looking forward to that, man. Hopefully we can get some across the border here.
Yeah, me too. I've had so many requests for it.
So what separates Quokka from the average canned coffee out there?
That is the golden question. So basically, Quokka Brew is the first caffeinated Jitterless coffee. So basically what that means is we have this organic blend of amino acids that we mix in with our cold brew. And the entire purpose of that blend is to negate the jitters and crash that you normally feel when you drink caffeine. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the feeling of pounding a cup of coffee and then you're sitting there and you're just anxious and you're shaking and sweating. That's one of those feelings that just, it stops a lot of people from drinking coffee. So that's kind of what we sought out to fix over at Quokka Brew.
Okay, that's dope. So basically, experience the taste of coffee without any caffeine crash, right?
Exactly. And kind of like how we explain it to people is think of the calming effects of green tea, but the taste and the energy boost that you get from coffee.
That's really cool. I like the sound of that.
It's really an awesome feeling. If you guys like haven't tried it yet, obviously I'm self-promoting here, but 100% go try it. It tastes great. It feels great.
Yeah, I'm a big avid coffee drinker myself. Like I need my coffee every day, whether it's just to get through anything. Like I definitely drink a lot of coffee. Would you like, so is one can equivalent to like 1 cup of coffee, or like how is like sort of the caffeine intake on those?
Yeah, it's a little bit more than a cup. It's 135 milligrams of caffeine, so it's like a cup and a half of coffee. So not quite bang energy, but it'll definitely wake you up. It just won't make you feel all shaky.
Okay, so it's a little bit more than coffee, but a little less than the average energy drink, right?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate, but definitely still give you that energy boost.
Yeah, like for me personally, I drink Celsius, which is like an energy drink, and that has I think like 60 milligrams of caffeine in it. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it is.
Yeah, so we'd be a little bit more than like double that.
Yeah, but those are the smaller cans. I mean, like the 12 ounce or something like that. The 12 ounce I think has 200 milligrams of caffeine, so it's a little less than that, right?
Yeah, a little bit less than that.
Okay, so with Quokka Brew, how do you guys plan on expanding in the reselling industry as things go forward with like botting? As we're kind of seeing like reselling and botting is kind of in a weird area right now, right? So like, what's the plans for Quokka in the reselling industry and sneaker Twitter and all that?
Yeah, it's definitely a super weird time right now. I know things have been a little bit slower, especially this last month, just for reselling in general.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've got a crazy amount of partnerships that we've been planning for months that should be coming up pretty soon. So we'll go kind of rapid fire. I'm not going to name any names, but if you guys were familiar with like the custom torpedo cans that we did for Quokka Brew
Yeah, with
a
the
while
keys that you
back,
guys gave away, right?
yeah,
You guys can.
definitely expect some more of that come in. We've got a lot of really big names in the pipeline, so I'm super excited for everyone to see that.
That's super exciting. Yeah, it's I remember the first time I saw it, Torpedo had a giveaway with y'all on Twitter, and it was like I was like, wait, what is it? What is a coffee company doing here, right? I was
Yeah, I was
confused. I was like,
confused as well,
this
man.
doesn't make sense. And then, as it went on, I started seeing y'all in so many giveaways. I was like, oh, okay, now this is really dope. Like, kind of seeing how an outside company outside of sneakers is kind of branching into, what is like our industry and coming into sneaker Twitter and doing giveaways with big bots. I thought that was just really dope. But besides Quokka Brew, like, do you have any experiences in sneaker Twitter in reselling or anything like that? Any side hustles that you've done?
Yeah. So I mean, I was selling a good amount before Quokka Brew was even a thing. I honestly was a pretty trash botter. I was never really good at anything in terms of like bodying, but I feel like I've gotten a good amount better after I've like made connections and I get FNF keys and whatnot, which is definitely a little bit of a hack. But shoot, what I used to like buy, I don't know if you guys know like True Religion jeans.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
years ago, I'd buy like True Religion jeans off eBay that were used and like the pictures were all gross and stuff. And I'd buy them for like $20 and I'd iron them and then I'd sell them for like 60 or $70.
Oh, no way.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
quite the hustle, man.
People out here selling brick 350s while he's trapping True Religion jeans.
Yeah,
What are
you
you
heard it
doing?
here first, man. True religion is where it's at, man.
Getting
Yeah.
FNF keys and True Religion jeans are TKG's money jig.
Yeah, this was definitely back in the day before I was on sneaker Twitter, but I just thought it was cool. It was easy money.
That's amazing. So
That's crazy. Where would you get the idea for that? Or just
it
top of the
honest
dome?
it was honestly one of those things where like I wanted to wear Trues because they were like cool when I was in school at the time. And I was like, well, I don't want to drop $200 on a pair of Trues, so I'd like go on eBay and look for a pair of used Trues. Um, and then I was like, oh man, like I could make money from doing this because other people are making money from it. And I just figured I'd take this ugly post and make it look nicer.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's genius, but it's crazy.
Small hustles.
okay, so Kevin, you've had a lot of experience with growing your personal brand, and obviously Quokka, as you mentioned, has translated into a lot of personal growth. And you've been able to get in touch with a lot of the biggest names in the scenes, learn from them as well, sort of shadow through those experiences. How has that helped you grow as a reseller or even like a bot or anything from that technical aspect of things?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the biggest thing right off the bat is just like having resources of, I'm friends with people who own software that I could like never justify buying on my own.
Yeah.
So it's like I do kind of get that friends and family treatment. And I think that's been one of the biggest things. And I'm forever grateful for everyone who's, ever hooked it up for me. Because I'm pretty public about like running Night, and it's one of the bots that, is absolutely insane and done pretty well with it. And I have to thank the Night team for that. Sponsors as well. Like I'm sure if I didn't have Quokka Brew, kind of as a backing, people probably wouldn't want to sponsor me because there are definitely bigger cooks in the space than me. But once again, thankful for everyone that wants to support me.
Do you have any personal projects or future plans that you plan to sort of engage in based off of the experience you've gained before?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing that I want to do just on a personal level is get more involved with sneakerheads that aren't necessarily familiar with bodying. So I've actually been in contact with Soul Retriever, and I think Soul Retriever is one of those platforms that tailors a lot toward like true sneakerheads that aren't necessarily just botters.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like love to get more involved with like that side of the shoe space because I love shoes personally. I just think that our association with sneakers as a whole has primarily been around bodying as of late, and I would just like to change that.
Okay, that's really cool. So initially, you've been able to slowly make your climb, whether maybe social media or just through networking in general. If someone's looking to start their own project or personal brand, that doesn't necessarily relate to this industry, like some may say they didn't see Quokka. How do they go about that? Do you have any sort of advice or maybe some previous experiences where you made some mistakes and if you went and rewind, you would have done things differently? What would you sort of advise people who are looking to do the same thing as you?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. My first piece of advice, I guess, would just to be reach out to as many people as you can. I think being afraid to talk to people is going to be like the bane of your company. It's going to be really helpful just to be able to reach out to friends and ask for advice and whatnot. There's this kind of common saying that we say around Quokka Brew, and it's your network is your net worth. And we really apply that, outside of the sneaker space as well. So just trying to build that personal network, and then honestly, just don't be afraid to start doing something. Like it doesn't necessarily matter if everyone thinks your idea is dumb or it's been done before or whatever it is. Just get out there and start it. And if you're passionate about it, I think other people will see that you're passionate about it and appreciate it, and eventually things will pick up.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, wouldn't you say, like, I guess the hardest thing through that journey is sort of disapproval, right? How have you dealt with sort of maybe being declined here or there? Yeah, I know you briefly spoke on, a couple partnerships that may have not worked out, and now you're sort of coming back to them. How do you go with sort of staying motivated and not being discouraged?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think you just have to roll with the punches. There's always going to be people that think your idea is dumb, or whatever. And if you let those people get in your head, then you're going to achieve anything. So just knowing that like you're passionate about a project, and you're going to do whatever it takes to make that project be successful. Like I think that's like the best mentality to have, and that's kind of how our whole team over at Quokka Brew looks at just life in general.
That's amazing. And so with everything that you guys have done in the sneaker industry, are there going to be more partnerships to come that we'll see outside of sneakers, or is that sort of going to be the niche right now at the moment for Quokka?
Yeah, so this is actually something that we're super excited about. We're trying to start doing some cool partnerships like outside of sneakers, in terms of like custom cans and merch and whatnot. So I can't say any names yet, but we're reaching out to a bunch of influencers and hoping that we'll have some pretty big projects coming out soon.
That's amazing. And so if you don't mind me asking, like, why the Quokka? Like, out of all the things to pick on your sort of logo or the label, what made that decision?
Yeah,
that's a great question. That's like another one of my favorite questions to answer. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with quokkas as animals, but they're these small little marsupials based out of this like island off of Australia.
Yeah.
They're known as the happiest animals in the world. So if you go on Google and type what is the happiest animal in the world, yeah, if you search it up right now, a quokka will pop up. And so it's one of those things where it's like we really just wanted our brand to embody happiness, and we wanted people to think of our coffee and our brand as a whole and just feel happy. So it was really one of those perfect things where like it it made sense to just have Quokka represent our brand.
That's so creative. I love that.
Yeah, that's really dope. I would have never thought of that. But I guess that's why you guys are running a coffee company and I'm not.
It's always it's a fun story to tell for sure.
Yeah, that's dope. But with Quokka Brew, what can we? I know Zed kind of, or Saucyy kind of already asked this earlier, but what can we kind of expect with the future with stores and Amazon? Can we expect like other places online that we can buy Quokka Brew?
Yeah. So we're obviously like focusing on the whole natural food space right now. So anything online, like Good Eggs is another online retailer that's super big for natural foods. We're gonna try to be there. Hopefully within the next like year and a half, we can be nationally distributed in stores in general. So I know a big constraint for people on sneaker Twitter right now is they have to order online. So hopefully pretty soon you'll be able to go to like your local CVS or Walmart or Target or whatever it is and pick up a can of Quokka off the shelf.
Okay, that's dope. So basically, stop for gas and grab a can. That's the future goal, right?
That's definitely the goal. We want to be everywhere.
It's really big.
Are you guys going to be sticking strictly to coffee in the future, or are there going to be plans for like other sort of products like to be hopping on that website soon?
Yeah. So I think coffee probably for the next few years. We've got a couple new products in the pipeline, so we'll have 2 new flavors coming out for the canned coffee.
Ooh, okay.
Then we want to get into beans and K-cups. But I definitely think we want to branch more into changing energy as a whole, not just coffee. So no promises on that. Nothing's committed, but I don't think we'll stop at coffee.
That's amazing.
All right. You heard it here first, but that's dope. I think that's all the questions me and Saucyy had written down for you. Anything else you want to kind of add, Saucyy?
No, I think that was really good, man. I really enjoyed the conversation and having you on with us today. As I mentioned before, like, thank you very much for joining us and taking some time to sort of give us a little insight into Quokka Brew, TKG himself and what you do in this industry. So thank you very much.
Of course, guys. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Had a great time chatting, and hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Yeah,
yes, sir. Well, hopefully, definitely have you on in the future.
Looking forward to having you back with us, and I gotta definitely get my hands on some Quokka Brew soon, and hopefully that can help me get through my day for sure.
Order us on Amazon. I'm telling you, that's it.
Absolutely, man. As
always, our social medias are linked in the description below. So is TKG or Kevin's. His Twitter is also in the link in the description below. Our Discords are on the screen. If you have any questions, just DM us. Me and Saucyy Mango are always answering our DMs. Anything else you want to add, Saucyy?
No, that should be all, guys. Thanks for listening, and until next time, peace.